Hey folks, Crazy Climber 80 here again, and this time we're going to look at a game called Radar Zone, and this was created by Century Electronics in 1982, and it was featured in cabinets created by a company called Toonie, and this was probably also made for the cassette video system, the CVS. I remember seeing this in arcades. It's as far as Century Electronics games go, I suppose it's not the worst by any means. It is a ripoff of the successful Konami game AMIDAR. And there's the typical boot up screen for Century Electronics games. Goddamn, I keep wanting to say Century Electronics was a British company. And this game is also known as Outline, but I'd only seen this as Radar Zone. You have what's called a tracer, and you try to surround boxes with your line that you draw wherever you move. And when you surround it completely, you fill it in. And you have to do that with every box on the screen. And there are enemies, they are called chasers, that try to follow you. There is a pink chaser. It follows your vertical movement, and there is a blue chaser that follows your horizontal movement. There is a asteroid stage later on in the game. Actually, there are numerous asteroid stages later on in the game, and on those you only have to fill in 2 boxes. Here at the beginning you can press the action button and you can see the instructions on how to play. The action button is called a gap button, and that is your only mode of protection. You press that and you make a hole in your line. We'll get started. There seems to be a missing sound sample when a box fills in. I think it's supposed to make a noise. But right now we only have one chaser. This is so easy, this level here. Later on the stages will get really tough. And now we have the blue chaser, and again the pink chaser will follow your vertical movements. The blue chaser will follow your horizontal movements. Doesn't mean that they can't go, I mean, if a vertical moving particle or a chaser, it doesn't mean it can't go horizontal. There I used my gap button. It's just that they generally follow one direction of movements that you make. It's often a good idea to sit there and wait until you can see what the chaser has decided to do. Once you get 2 chasers on the screen at once, or more, then the game's difficulty ups considerably. But once you kind of learn how they behave, and like I said, the pink one will follow your vertical movements and the blue one will follow your horizontal movements. Once you learn that, then the game becomes much easier. But it's still very hard, and there gets to be a point in the game where it's just about unplayable. The game just kind of craps all over you, and we'll look at that later on. You have a bonus meter, and if you let the bonus get to 0, you will die. And now we have 2 chasers. if there is a box that you fill in that does not have a number, you won't get bonus points for it. Yeah. See, that pink one does the vertical movements, and it went all the way down to the bottom, trying to follow me. You can leave a box partially enclosed, and then come back and finish closing it. But yeah, you see the number of the point value in the boxes, and when you cover it, then you get that point value. And whatever bonus time you have left, that will be added to your score, as will a multiplier. The stage that you're on will be multiplied by 1,000. You'll get that bonus too. Yeah, this game's not particularly great, and like I said, it sounds like it's missing samples. I'm pretty sure it needed to make a sound when you fill in a box from when I played this in the arcades. I remember seeing this at a department store back in the day, and I remember seeing this at a local grocery store, and I believe I saw this in arcades too. But again, this is also known as outline. Yeah, the sound effects are crappy and annoying. Generally, Century Electronics games, and there's another gap I laid out. Century Electronic games are generally not very good, and this didn't really sway any opinions. There was a gap that I laid. The gap will fill back in after a little while, and you'll hear a sound when it does. You can lay 3 gaps at once, and then after they've filled in, then you can lay 3 gaps again. The gap can count as 2 if you are on a corner along an edge. Like in that corner or that corner, if you press the gap button, then you will have 2 gaps surrounding you, and the enemies can not cross that gap. There, I surrounded myself with gaps. But again, after a little while, that gap will fill back in, and you better hope that a chaser does not run across that gap right as you're stuck with the gap on the other side of you. Ah, crap. And note that you have to start all the way over again. Crap. Had to put up the gaps right off the bat. That sucks. But yeah, when you die, you have to start all over again. You can get an extra life at 100,000 points. Ah, shoot. Yeah, if you can manage to group the 2 chasers together so they're both following you on your trail, then that's good. It's when they separate when it's easier to get surrounded. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this AMIDAR, which again this ripped off, and it's a Konami classic. That was much better. It had much better music. I mean, this doesn't really even have music. It had better sound effects. But yeah, if you get yourself in a corner of a box, you can surround yourself with two gaps. And if you are on a plane lower than the chasers, and they're across the way from you, then they will stay over on the other side. It's kind of hard to explain, but crap. I had to gap myself again. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this game. It's got annoying sound effects, and there's one sound effect that seems to be missing, and the game is just repetitive and not all that fun. Definitely stick with AMIDAR instead. Of all the Century Electronics video system type games, the best ones were Hunchback. Dazzler wasn't terrible. Damn it, I gotta use those gaps again. And I kind of liked Goldbug. But most of them were not very good. Certainly compared to like Konami or Namco games, or Williams, or the other big companies of the time. Eventually, you will get to enemies, or you will have to face enemies that will shoot at you. Yeah, don't be afraid to pause to figure out what the enemy is gonna do. Ooh! Yeah, I'm almost to 100,000 where I'll get an extra life. But yeah, you'll get the point value of the box that you enclose. And at the end of a level, you will get what's left on the bonus meter. And you will also get 1,000 times the number of the stage that you just beat. And if you let the bonus timer go down to 0, you will lose a life, and you'll hear the game count down. For some reason, it cuts off once you get to 5. And that means I got the extra life. But again, there will be some boxes that you can fill in that do not have a bonus point or a bonus amount added on once you fill it in. And that one that does not say a point value on it, it will not give you points. And you will not have to fill it in. You just have to fill in the point value boxes. And note now that the outlines of the boxes cannot be seen here. Ah, crap. Yeah, this game's kinda dull. I'm not a big fan of it. And as you saw in the demo, there are asteroid stages. And all those require you to do is to fill in the top and bottom box. Sounds easy, but as you're trying to do so, there are multiple paths that the enemies can take to reach you. All the enemy has to do is touch you and you're dead. But again, if you're on a lower plane than the chasers, and they're across the way from you, then they will not go upwards and try to get around to where you're at. It's kind of harder to explain than it is to just show you. But it's one strategy you can use. Oh, I used the double gap technique. But remember that technique, that can definitely save your bacon. Ooh, he backed off just as the gaps got filled in. Ooh, there's the voice that was counting down the bonus time. I was getting pretty low on it. And again, you will lose a life if you run out of bonus time. Well, I hope you're managing to stay warm if it's starting to get cold where you live. It's not super cold where I live. It's definitely starting to rain. I could stand to get in my hot tub at some point soon. The hot tub's always more enjoyable when the weather's cold. Ah, crap! I thought I was going to be able to pull away from him in time. I think this might have been as far as I got on this level. I mean, on this stage in the game. I don't know how many stages there are supposed to be in the game, but at some point the game just screws you into the ground, and you can't really complete it, or not very likely. And I'll show you what that looks like later on. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this game at all, really. Again, I saw this in multiple arcades and department stores and whatnot. But yeah, it seems like the sound, there is supposed to be a sound of the boxes filling in, and that's not in MAME. Yikes. But yeah, it doesn't hurt to pause or back up or whatever to figure out what the chasers are gonna do. Oh brother, am I gonna make it? That is a bit unnerving, that voice sample counting down. And again, when it reaches 0, you die. Ooh, am I gonna make it? Ah, crap! The controls on the Century Electronics games are not very good. Definitely that's the case on this one. I was trying to turn, I think, and the game didn't seem to want to let me. But that is Radar Zone. Maybe the makers of this game were fans of the band Golden Earring. They liked their songs Radar Love and Twilight Zone and combined them to make Radar Zone. That's kind of stupid. You can 9, 8, 7, 6. Yeah, they cut out at 5. That's kind of stupid. But yeah, you can continue from the previous stage, which is kind of stupid. It sets you back one. Well, let's look at the later levels. Here is the next one. I'm just going to show you a little bit of it, then I'll finish it off. There we go. And here's the asteroid stage. There will be more asteroid stages. See, they can easily make their way to you in a very confusing way. I put on invincibility here. You run into the asteroid, you don't get like points for surrounding it or anything. You just have to surround the top and bottom boxes. Now we have a third particle. Even if you have invincibility cheat on in MAME, some of the particles will still kill you if they touch you. There's a little bit of a different pattern for this third particle. I think it just tries to make all turns. And we'll skip forward to the next stage. And there's the third particle in this asteroid stage. And now I think one of the particles, yeah, it's shooting. Yeah, one of the particles can shoot at you. But yeah, this game is just not particularly good. It's got annoying sound effects and repetitive gameplay and just not very interesting. It might be on the next stage where the game just starts to screw you over. Yeah, let's scoot forward. Oh, maybe not. Not yet. Here's another asteroid stage, and it's got a particle that can shoot at you. Yeah, it's here. Now we got a super fast particle that teleports. What kind of bull crap is that? Well, screw this level. Well, that was the fairly crappy Radar Zone by Century Electronics in 1982, also for the CVS system. What is this, Crazy Climber 80? Thanks for watching Radar Zone, also known as Outline. I will catch you later in the future with another video. Hope you have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.